The bill also omits a vital provision in our bill that would have provided $1 billion for each of the fiscal years 2003 and 2004 to local governments to hire firefighters. This provision, sponsored in our committee, co-sponsored, again bipartisan, by Senators Carnahan and Collins, would create what is effectively a firefighter's version of the immensely successful and productive and valued COPS program that we created in the 90s. I believe it started in 1994 for police officers locally. After September 11th, the firefighters are people we depend on, particularly in an emergency. The fire departments have taken on new responsibilities throughout the country post-September 11th and are doing more hiring, so we need to help them pay for their new personnel. We need to help them train and equip those personnel. And unfortunately, that path-breaking, productive, progressive provision has been taken out of the substitute. I would yield for a question to the senator from West Virginia.
My question is this. The distinguished senator is pointing out some very glaring differences between the bill, I call it a bill. Is this the hydra-headed monster that has come over from the House over in the last 24 hours or so? And is this the item that is before the Senate today? And is this the item to which, is this the vehicle to which the distinguished senator from Connecticut is addressing his remarks? That would be my first question.
Through the chair, I thank the senator from West Virginia. The House last night adopted a proposal which I gather is essentially the same, perhaps totally the same, as this substitute which was introduced yesterday by Senators Thompson, Graham, and Miller.
So what we have before the Senate, Senator, go further. What we have before the Senate is a massive piece of legislation, 480 odd pages, that has been virtually dropped into our laps within the last 36 hours, allowing for yesterday and thus far today. This is a virtually new bill, as I see it, is it not? I mean, it's something that I read about it in the newspapers, something to the effect that this is a compromise that was passed by the House and sent to the Senate. It's now under discussion in the Senate. The distinguished senator from Connecticut is performing, as I see it, a great service in addressing his remarks to this monstrosity. That's my word for it. It is a monstrosity. It's almost 500 pages, and it just suddenly dropped into our laps. This is not the bill which came out of the senator from Connecticut's committee, is it?
I thank the senator. As I said at the outset of the remarks I'm giving here, there is a lot that's in this substitute that has in fact been taken from our committee bill. But as I'm enumerating now, there is a lot also that's been added. And some of it really at the last moment. Some of it compromised legislation, for instance, on the question of federal worker rights, which we've been debating here for several weeks now. But some of it, such as the provision on child vaccine and the liability of pharmaceutical companies in cases of injury from that vaccine, we've never seen in any of the many forms of Homeland Security legislation that have been introduced or discussed not only in the Senate, but I believe in the House as well.
Mr. President, distinguished Senator, you for further question. Mr. President, in speaking of the vaccine, as you know, in this town and in this chamber, there's often a great deal said about pork, and particularly with reference to appropriation bill. This seems to me to be some pork in this bill for the pharmaceutical companies. That's what it sounds like. And I believe that the distinguished senator from Illinois will later have something to say about this, possibly have an amendment in regard to it. That was kind of what I understood from the conversation earlier today. But this, it sounds to me like this is something brand new to the distinguished senator from Connecticut. And what I'm leading up to is this question. Here we have a bill that we're being asked to pass virtually sight unseen. We've had yesterday and thus far today to study this new vehicle that has come to us from the House, passed by the House, I believe. And this vehicle itself did not come before the committee that is so able to chair by the distinguished senator from Connecticut. This is a new piece of virtually sight unseen in many ways. There are many parts of it, of course, that, as the distinguished senator from Connecticut, I believe, has indicated, were probably lifted out of the measure which he and the other members of his committee, both Republicans and Democrats, reported from that committee several months ago. And that bill, that we referred to it back in those days as the Lieberman substitute.
You remember those days fondly.
Yes. What I remember them fondly also, but I am very disturbed by the fact that here we have before this Senate a measure which is in many ways a measure that has not been seen and studied except for a few hours of yesterday and today that we and our staffs have been able to allot to it. This is something new, and we're going to be asked to vote on cloture on this vehicle, this piece of legislation. We're going to be asked to vote on cloture by no later than tomorrow on this matter. And we don't know what's in it. I don't know what's in it. I've had my staff on it since yesterday when it first made its appearance in my office in the form of several separate pages, which I hold in my hand here. There's various and sundry pieces of it. 400 and almost 500 pages. And here we're going to be asked to vote on cloture on this measure tomorrow. I hope that we don't invoke cloture. I hope the senators will not vote to invoke cloture on this matter tomorrow. I think the Senate is entitled to have more time in studying this measure before we vote on it. I think the American people are entitled to know more about what's in this bill as it comes to us now from the House, what's in the bill before we vote on cloture. I think the people are entitled to it. And I say to the distinguished senator from Connecticut again, he is performing an extremely important service to the Senate, to his people, and to the people of the United States. I was in my office when I heard him talking. I heard him talking about the vaccines. I heard him talking about other areas of the bill, which are new to him. President and Mrs. Carter, and from my wife Irma, our little cabin home on the hill. Tonight I'm alone without you, my dear. Seems there's a longing for you still. All I have to do now is sit alone and cry in our little cabin home on the hill. For someone has taken you from me and left me here all alone. Just listen to the rain beat on my window pane in our little cabin home on the hill. I hope you're happy tonight as you are, but in my heart there's a longing for you still. I'll just keep it there so I won't be alone in our little cabin home on the hill. Oh, someone has taken you from me and left me here all alone. Just listen to the rain beat on my window pane in our little cabin home on the hill. Now when you have come to the end of the way, find there's no more happiness for you, just let your thoughts turn back once more, if you will, to our little cabin home on the hill. Oh, someone has taken you from me and left me here all alone. Just listen to the rain beat on my window pane in our little cabin home on the hill.